Talk about a big day for the Metro. President's first visit to Omaha as Commander-in-Chief, and he is making a big impression. Good evening, I'm Rob McCartney.
I'm Melissa Fry. This visit comes one day after the President's final State of the Union address. Let's take a live look at Air Force One at Offutt Air Force Base. Right now, the President is making his way there. First, let's head to KETV News Watch 7's Jeremy Maskell, who is live inside the Baxter Arena.
Absolutely, Melissa and Rob. You know, the crowd of 8,000 was quite thunderous, is the best way to put it, I think, in their applause and their cheers for the president. Many people during the speech behind me yelling 4 more years, hoping the president would be able to stay on. Constitutionally, he said, and because of the First Lady, he is not able to run for another term in office. But there really was a deep level of passion as they listened to him touch on a lot of the same topics that he talked about last night in his State of the Union address. Today, talking about how the president will squeeze every last bit out of his final year in office, but also talking about priorities like changing political tone, pushing innovation, creating security beyond one job for a new generation of workers that may change jobs a half dozen or more times in a 40-year career. Those issues, making college more affordable, really hit home with a largely college age or young professional age audience that was in this closest area in front of the podium here behind me. And you saw a video of the president in that teacher's home, Lisa Martin, and it was actually Mrs. Martin who introduced the president today, talked a little bit about why this is so important to her, and we will hear from her later throughout the evening. But it really was a momentous occasion for many people, I think, in the audience who talked with them. But now we do have sound from the teacher, I understand, so let's take a listen.
Call it sleep deprivation or desperation, but something made me want to email the president that night, so I did, and the White House responded. I shared the letter with my students and told them they must be advocates for change if they want it. Even a mother's nighttime fears can make change happen. I told them that, perhaps, I had made someone pause and think, too.
Before I came here, I stopped over at Lisa's place with her husband and her 1-year-old, and he was fired up and ready to go. He was bouncing around, and I was getting tired just watching him. We're all living through a time of extraordinary change. And that's always a little bit unsettling. And that's what Lisa wrote to me about at 4 a.m., which, you know, I wanted to tell Lisa, you should get some sleep. But when you have a 1-year-old, that's what happens. Yeah, but you heard Lisa talk about, she was wondering whether the world she grew up in would be just as prosperous and secure for her new baby as it was for her. But I want everybody to remember, America's been through big changes before. And each time we overcame our fears and we overcame our challenges. Each time we made change work for us. And each time we emerged stronger and better than we were before.
And that's a little bit about how you heard the president speak not only to his last year in office, but really for future administrations, future generations who are dealing in a changed world, different challenges, different economies, and it really connected, from what I saw, with the audience here in a very deep way. A lot of those people clearing out now. We are going to talk to, as best we can, a few of the people that are remaining as we continue our team coverage as the president makes his way back to Offutt. But for now, reporting live inside Baxter Arena, Jeremy Maskell, KETV News Watch 7.